Everything that we build and everything that we consume, all of it needs energy. And by using the Brisbane Baylands to generate electricity from solar and wind energy, we really can be sustainable.
The Baylands should be something for everybody. Wind power and solar power would be ideal for that site.
It's a large space here on the peninsula. It's in a transportation-centered area. It has the ability to bring benefits to our community in open space and in jobs and in recreation. And there's also the potential of energy renewal out there.
Thank you for having me here in Brisbane tonight. I'm Zizi Searles. Most of my time I spend as a remedial project manager on Superfund sites, cleaning up sites like the Brisbane Baylands. But today I'm going to talk to you about some renewable energy options that you could potentially have in the future. And it promotes the development of renewable energy on contaminated sites. All types of renewable energy, wind, geothermal, solar, biomass. And one of the important components of this project is to make sure that there's community buy-in anytime these projects are in the community. There's existing infrastructure which can be leveraged, and there's an example of that here in Brisbane Baylands. There's a PG&E connection station, transmission station not far from the site.
The Baylands is a perfect blending of land and a time in America's history in which we need to turn away from the energy of the past to the energy of the future.
A solar power plant like this could provide all of the energy needed to run all of the businesses that are built on the Baylands, and perhaps everything in the city of Brisbane as well.
So we have the motion on the table. Now we just vote. Okay, so can we have a voice vote?
Okay. The motion has already been made, but we can say that we accept the resolution with the modifications as stated.
Okay, and can we have a second?
I second.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well, the Planning Commission really did the right thing. They did the job. They studied the EIR, huge long document. They heard all the testimony. They made a recommendation that emphasizes renewable energy generation in a solar and wind farm. First of all, the EIR identified the renewable energy alternative as the most environmentally superior alternative. Second, we had the National Renewable Energy Lab conduct a formal scientific feasibility study of the Baylands, and they found that the solar farm would be both economically and environmentally feasible. And third, the city conducted a survey of people's opinions on the Baylands. And when it came to renewable energy, 86% of the people said that renewable energy was either somewhat important, very important, or extremely important to them.
My name is Greg Anderson, and I'm a member of the Brisbane Planning Commission that studied the Brisbane Baylands Environmental Impact Report and made a recommendation on the development project for the City Council. The Planning Commission's treatment of the Environmental Impact Report for the Brisbane Baylands process covered a period of 11 months, which included 11 deliberation meetings and over 10 public hearings. An important component of the Brisbane Planning Commission's recommendation for the Brisbane Baylands development project was an 85-acre utility-scale renewable energy generation plant. In the developer plan, there's a much higher level of density of development so that the usage of the energy required by the plan is also much higher. The C.R.E.B.L plan was energy positive by over 30 gigawatts, whereas the developer plan required more than 30 gigawatts of extra energy consumption than it produced.
The community has the right to determine land use, and the Planning Commission has made a land use recommendation that is in line with what the citizens of Brisbane want and the general plan. It really represents forward thinking, what Brisbane and this community can contribute to the Bay Area at large. If you go on the internet and you watch videos of what happens during a liquefaction, it's just like if you mix sand and water in a bowl and you shake it. Try this at home. It's really interesting. All the sand goes to the bottom and all the liquid gets pushed to the top. And so if you have a landfill that is being shaken during an earthquake event, And that landfill is saturated with water that's been steeped in chemicals. And then that land gets shaken and all the soil settles and all of that leachate that's saturated with carcinogenic chemicals and heavy metals and God knows what. Because never forget that that was an unregulated landfill. There was no records kept about what was put in there. There was no regulations about what could be dumped in there almost 100 years ago. All of that stuff during an earthquake event is just gonna come right up. And when the whole Bay Area is in crisis, what's really gonna be our outlook for cleaning up all of that toxic slurry and liquid that has bubbled to the top after an earthquake?
There was a study done by the Environmental Protection Agency and the National Renewable Energy Laboratories, and that study was published in 2013. And according to that study, the solar farm that C.R.E.B.L is promoting was feasible. And not only was it feasible in 2013 when the study was published, but since then, the prices of solar panels have gone down considerably, so that makes it even more feasible than it was when the study was published. Some people make the argument that solar farms should be in the desert because it's in the middle of nowhere and it's an obstruction to no one, but the reality is that in the desert, solar panels work less efficiently because they work better in cool temperatures. In addition to that, you have to transfer power from the desert, however many hundreds of miles, to reach the population centers, and in so doing you lose energy due to the transfer of power over that many miles. And another thing that I think should be mentioned is that the solar farm promoted by C.R.E.B.L does not require water.
Future water supplies identified and analyzed must bear a likelihood of actually proving available. Speculative sources and unrealistic allocations called paper water are insufficient basis for decision-making under CEQA. It was a case brought by citizens against a developer and a city council who had approved a plan where there was no water. They called it paper water. It was theoretical water, not agreed upon water. The city council had gone ahead and approved the plan and approved the final EIR, and the citizens brought their case all the way up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled against the developer and against the city council because you must specify and have agreements for the required water. Not just saying it's there somewhere out in the world, but we have agreements that someone will provide this water and we can get it delivered to the location. My sense is that the Planning Commission did a fabulous job of going through all of these issues and came forward with a recommendation that is sound and feasible and falls within our general plan.
As a citizen of Brisbane, as a homeowner who lives here with his family, the traffic is a major concern. I mean, I just cannot be happy with bumper-to-bumper traffic. I mean, that's just absurd. And I think we have to try our best to stop that, to mitigate that. I've kind of looked at it and I realized that the traffic impact would be something like having a San Francisco 49er football game here every day of the week. And you probably remember all the traffic and congestion from a football game. Imagine having that every single day of the week. In addition to all of the other development that's going to be happening north of us. And I think if we can at least just eliminate the 49er traffic, we could probably handle the rest of it.
We're looking for communities that could have be a model for others. And it looks like Brisbane is on the way.
You will be joining with the smartest economies around the planet. Germany has pledged to be 100% renewably powered by 2050, Scotland by 2020. Give Brisbane the opportunity to be a city of the future.
And so Brisbane has the opportunity to do the right thing. And I believe with C.R.E.B.L's plan of clean energy production and sensible development, we're going to benefit everybody.